Hi, friends and family. Today I want to tell you the story of my life, how God delivered me from death and slavery and blessed me tremendously in Egypt, how He preserved His faithfulness and His promise in my life and generation. My name is Joseph, and I am the 11th son of our father Jacob. The last born of the family is Benjamin. Benjamin and I were from Rachel, our mother, which makes the rest of my brothers my stepbrother. My father loved me so much because I was a child of his old age. Therefore, he showers blessings on me and gifts countless times. One of those days, he made a coat of many colors for me, especially because I am a special child to him. And this created a problem between me and my brothers. They hated me. There was jealousy. At another time, just to add more to the problem unknowingly, I had a dream that I and my brother, we were in the field and their sheaves of grain bowed down to my own sheaf of grain. When I narrated the dream to them, they became furious. They didn't take it lightly at all. I had another dream. This time around, I dreamed that the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars were bowing down to me. When I narrated the story to my father and my brothers, my father was curious. He asked questions like, does that mean that I and your mother were going to bow down for you at the end of the day? So the whole charade went on like that until one day my father sent me to Shechem to look after my brothers on the field. So I went to Shechem. I couldn't locate them there at Shechem. I was directed to Dothan. So eventually I found them at Dothan. When I got there, surprisingly, my brothers got hold of me, stripped me of my coat of many colors, and they threw me in a pit where there is no water. I was there in that pit and I was wondering why this kind of behavior. A few hours later, they pulled me out of the pit and sold me to the Midianite caravanners for 20 pieces of silver. Can you imagine? The Midianite caravanners took me to Egypt as a slave. I was later sold to the house of Potiphar. Potiphar was one of the king's officials. But God was with me all the while. I knew He was with me. And in the house of Potiphar, He blessed me tremendously, that everything I did with my hands became prosperous. So much that Potiphar made me the man in charge of everything he had. God's favor found me. I was enjoying this favor when a problem arose. My master's wife, she had an eye on me. And one day she grabbed me. She wanted to have sex with me. And I told her, this cannot happen. I cannot betray the trust of I can't betray the trust of my master. And most importantly, I cannot sin against God. So I forcefully detached myself from her. But while I was doing that, she held on to my coat. When I ran out of the room, she started shouting and crying that this slave boy came to rape me and she attempted to rape me and all that. I was wondering, what's all this? When my master came, she reported me and my master didn't even hear anything I had to say. He threw me into the prison. But while I was in the prison, God showed me favor. I had favor. I found favor in the sight of the chief warden. He made me the administrator of the prisoners. That is God's favor. I saw the hand of God going with me every step of the way. One day in the prison, two of my fellow inmates dreamt, and when they woke up, they narrated their dream to me. And the Spirit of God gave me an understanding. I told them the meaning of their dream. That 3 days after that, the cupbearer was going to be reinstated, but the chief baker was going to be executed, unfortunately. And it happened exactly as I have narrated the interpretation. So when the cupbearer was leaving the prison, I told him, please remember me when you get to the king and put a word for me because I was innocent. But the cupbearer forgot about me totally until after 2 years. 2 years gone by, I was still in the prison. One day, the chief warden came and asked me, to come out of the prison that the king wanted to see me. So I was shaved. I was asked to freshen up. I had new apparel, and I appeared before the king. And you know what? The king had a dream that he could not interpret. When he narrated the dreams that he had, the Spirit of God came on me again powerfully, and I was able to interpret the dream. And the dream was that Egypt was going to experience 7 years of abundance and another 7 years of famine. Immediately I interpreted the dream. I also told them what we need to do to salvage this old man so that lives could be preserved, which means that we needed to build storehouses of grains everywhere in the city so that there will be enough food for everyone during the 7 years of famine. Immediately the king heard about it. He bought into the idea. And surprising enough, he made me the administrator of the taxation program. That same day, I became the Prime Minister of Egypt. Wow. What a favor, from prison to the palace. So immediately we started planning and making arrangement. As the Prime Minister, I got everything I needed in life. Life was good. So I made arrangement to build storehouses in all the cities of Egypt. And in the first 7 years, when we had abundance, we filled the storehouses with grains so that there would be enough for the remaining seven years of lack. And in the 7 years of lack, what happened was that I opened the storehouses and we began to sell food for the Egyptians, and words went abroad, and people from other countries and the neighboring towns also came into Egypt to buy food. One fateful day, while I was monitoring the process of selling, I saw my brothers on the queue. The same brothers who sold me to slavery. They came all the way from our city to buy food in Egypt. The moment I saw them, I pretended that I don't know them, and they also couldn't recognize me. I was furious, but I had forgiven them. My heart melted. But I wanted to know what happened to my father, what is the state of my brother Benjamin, and what is actually happened to them. So I arrested them under the pretense of the fact that they are spies. And while they were in prison, I overheard them regretting what they have done to me by selling me into slavery. They were so apologetic. They were asking God for forgiveness. And I told myself, maybe these guys have really repented. So I had a conversation with them. I got to know that they had a little brother, Benjamin, and I asked them to go and bring Benjamin. That until when they brought Benjamin, that was when I will release my brother Judah. So they went and brought Benjamin. When Benjamin came, my emotion swelled up. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to ask my servants to get out of the room. And eventually, I revealed my personality and my identity to them. I told them, this is me, Joseph, you sold into slavery. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. It was a very emotional moment. We all reconnected. But most importantly, because God was in the story, He was able to preserve our lives and preserve Egyptians and even my lineage. Eventually, I asked them to bring my father. My father was very glad to see me. It was a great reunion, and we were happy all together. What is the lesson of the story? In every life situation, there is a purpose, and that whatever you are going through, no matter how rough it is, God is in the midst of it. God saw me through all those challenges. He made me to persevere so that I could be a channel of blessing, not only to Egyptians, but to my generation. God is faithful. During this story, while I was researching, I found myself in the place of forgiveness, because that was the main thing that happened there. As Joseph, I had to forgive my brothers and let go of the hatred so that the purpose of God could come to pass. I believe you have been inspired one way or the other, that God is faithful, and if we trust in Him, He will bring His purpose to pass in our lives. May God bless you indeed. May the story inspire you to inspire others. Stay blessed.